let's talk about one of the most powerful ideas in all of finance, probability. Now, I know what you might be thinking, crystal balls, predicting the future. Nope, forget all that. This is about building a mental toolkit, a practical way to think about and deal with financial risk.
I mean, this is the big one, isn't it? It's the question that every single investor, every analyst, every CFO wakes up with. You have to make a call today about a future you can't possibly know for sure. So how do you do that with any kind of confidence? Well, that's exactly what this toolkit is for.
All right, so here's our game plan for building it. We're going to start with the basics, a language for talking about uncertainty. Then we'll cover the 3 simple rules, the grammar, really, that holds it all together. After that, we'll get into mapping out outcomes, looking at them in different ways, and we'll tackle a really dangerous assumption. And finally, we'll see what the real point of all this is.
Okay, so first things first. Before we can even begin to analyze risk, we have to agree on how we're going to talk about it. This isn't about hunches or gut feelings. It's about having a formal, logical way to handle the unknown. It all starts with a shared language.
Think about it. In finance, you constantly have to put a number on something. How likely is a stock to go up? What are the odds of a company defaulting? The catch is, you can never really know. So what do? That's where probability theory comes in. It's the rule book that lets us assign numbers to these things and work with them in a way that actually makes sense.
Now, you can't have a language without grammar. And for probability, the grammar boils down to 3 super simple core rules. And don't worry, this isn't some complex math class. These are just common sense rules to make sure our logic holds up.
Okay, let's quickly run through them. Rule 1, a probability is always a number between 0 and 1. 0 means no way, not happening, and 1 means it's a sure thing. Simple. Rule 2, if you list out every possible thing that could happen, the chance that one of them will occur is 100%, or 1. I mean, something's got to happen, right? And rule 3, if 2 things can't happen at the same time, a stock can't finish the day both up 5% and down 5%, you can just add their probabilities together. If you break any of these rules, well, your whole analysis just falls apart. It's basically useless.
So, we've got our grammar down. Now for the first real tool we're going to pull out of the box. And that's mapping out the entire universe of what could possibly happen.
And this map has a name. It's called the sample space. All that means is it's the complete list of every single outcome you're thinking about. And let me tell you, getting this right is absolutely crucial. If your map is wrong or incomplete, then any direction you take from there is going to be flawed. It's garbage in, garbage out.
And this isn't some abstract theory. We use this every day. A sample space in finance could be the full range of possible returns for a stock. Or it could be super simple, right? A company either defaults or it doesn't, just 2 outcomes. Or you could get more complex and map out economic scenarios, recession, stagnation, or strong growth. The key is you have to define the world you're playing in.
So we've got our map, our sample space, now what? Well, now we can start looking at it. And we've got different lenses we can use to do that, different tools to analyze it. Let's look at 2 of the most important ones. All right, so we've got 2 different ways of looking at things, marginal and joint probability. Think of it this way. Marginal is pretty straightforward. It's the probability of one single thing happening, like a stock going up. But joint probability, that's where it gets interesting. That's the probability of 2 or more things happening together. What are the chances the stock goes up and oil prices rise at the same time? You see? It's all about the interaction.
And this is why we care so much about this stuff. A portfolio isn't just a random bag of stocks. It's an ecosystem where every part can affect every other part. You just can't understand the real risk by looking at each piece by itself. You have to understand how they move together. And that idea, well, that's the bedrock of all modern risk management.
Okay, so this whole idea of things interacting and moving together, it leads us straight to a very tempting and honestly a very dangerous shortcut that gets taken all the time in finance.
We're talking about the assumption of independence. This is when you just decide that what happens with one thing tells you absolutely nothing about what happens with another. And why do people do this? Because it makes the math a million times easier. It cleans everything up. But is the real world really that simple? This quote just nails it. Assuming things are independent in finance is often just a modeling convenience rather than a behavioral fact. Let's let that sink in for a second. It means we're often just pretending the world is simpler than it actually is so that our spreadsheets look clean and our models don't break. It's not reality.
And the consequences of getting this wrong, they can be huge.
You end up dramatically underestimating your real risk. You think you're safe because you have a diversified portfolio, but in reality, all your assets might be tied to the same underlying factor. You miss the domino effect. And then, when a crisis hits, you find out the hard way that everything was connected after all.
So, this brings us all the way back around to the big picture. We've built this whole toolkit, we've learned the rules and the tools. So what's the real point of all this? What are we actually doing here?
And here it is. This is the whole ball game right here. We are not fortune tellers. We are performing disciplined uncertainty accounting. I love that phrase. We're using this language and these rules to logically and consistently manage what we don't know, to account for every possibility. It's about being rigorous, not about having a crystal ball.
So now you have the toolkit. The next time you see a portfolio or hear some financial forecast, you can ask the right questions. What's the sample space they're considering? Are they just assuming everything is independent to make their lives easier? This isn't just theory. It's a whole new lens to see the financial world more clearly. The only question left is, how are you going to use it?